Among the various things that could stop you from getting hired somewhere or the things that are hindering your progress as a developer, there is one thing in mind that you need to always just keep. You need to get this skill down because it is going to be one of the most beneficial skills for you in the end. And how do I know this? How could a 17-year-old kid on the internet be telling you, regardless of your skills, what you need to do? I'll make it very precautionary that what I'm saying is probably targeted for beginners / intermediate programmers, but otherwise, I've seen very experienced people talk about this all the time. And I know that it's maybe something that's not as documented because in almost every single tutorial I've ever done, any single guide I've ever done, this has just not been there. And it's harming so many people. And the topic of today will be packaging. Now, this is a Python thing for the record, but I'm sure this applies to multiple languages. Now, what is packaging? I'll let you know. Packaging is just how you present your data and your project to everyone. The tests, the file structures, how you do your configurations, the setup, there's lots of depreciated things. And of course, there's no perfect file structure. That is some BS people are telling you out there to scare you. But I will tell you that the way it actually looks, the general framework around that is very crucial and you need to make sure that it's on fleek, bro. And I'll show you an example of this because right here in my code, claimer.python, this is a very basic project I've made. And all it's doing is just checking Roblox usernames to see if they're valid. And I'll even show you a test case real quick. So if we go down to the main function here, we have test user 1, test user 2, test user 3. And I already did test case on those, but let's try this out. Max syntax. See, I actually don't know if that one's taken. You never know. Let's see, subscribe to max syntax. That's gonna be way too long. Make sure you like and sub though. That's part of the video, by the way. That's the joke. And drop a comment. All right, so now let's see, will this run the way we want it to? So we are running it. Already in use. Valid. Subscribe to max syntax is not in fact taken. But there you go. Those are my test cases. And let's say I want to present it to the world. I want to make sure that other people are seeing what I'm doing. And don't worry, we'll get to it. That is the necessity of packaging. And if you already found out what packaging is, that's great. But this could harm you. It does not matter how much you know how to code. It really matters about how you present yourself. Appearance, if you haven't learned in this world, is kind of the top priority of almost everyone, unfortunately, almost instinctually. But due to the internet, due to the wonderful world we have, boom, Python packaging user guide. There are guides out there to help you out. So it's not over for us. And it's kind of a weird thing because this became the de facto standard, not this website, but rather just how you're supposed to do this. And I wasn't really aware of that. And this could be my fault. I'm sure if I went to college, I'd learn this. And I'm a high schooler for the record. I'm going to learn about this probably. And if you go to college, let me know what they taught you how to package if you learn Python or any language, please. But they tell you basically the breakdown of everything. How does deploying it work? Because honestly, when I first learned how to code and I went to GitHub and I looked around, I'm like, dude, what is happening? Like, what part of this represents making a program? And it turns out that you're actually building the whole entire program and it runs the dependencies. It does this, it does that. It's a neat process once you understand it. But when you don't understand it, it is just chaotic. It is so cryptic and nasty. So look, they even make a note right here. Building your understanding of Python packaging is a journey to let other people use your projects. That's kind of crazy. Patience and continuous improvement are key to success. The overview and flow sections provide a starting point for understanding the Python packaging ecosystem. There's a lot going on here. So someone who doesn't have the most developed guide or developed mindset, intuition about coding is going to be like, what the hell's going on? And there are many cases where the way someone packaged something has harmed people. So I noticed 4 years ago on Reddit, we have, I am frustrated with packaging in Python. Please educate me. And if you look into the debate, you kind of see what I'm getting at right now. His problem, have any idea how to do this stuff. It doesn't help that the main way to do it, setup tools, it has truly horrid documents that give little idea on how to approach it. And I agree. If we go to setup tools right now, we're going to have a very miserable time. So we have setup tools right here, quick start user's guide. So I'm sure we see all this stuff. It's definitely not for the mediocre programmer. You need to be kind of somewhat proficient at this point because they're telling you about Tom's minimal language and a build system. And what they're getting at right here is that they're making it unbelievably hard to kind of understand what's going on here. All these docs are definitely a lot cleaner. I do remember going back on the original user guide and just having a hard time. But this is a very verbose document right here. And this is just to put your project on GitHub. You see what I'm getting at. But it's not to say you shouldn't learn it. You need to learn Docker. You need to learn every kind of thing relating to that. But it's just annoying. There's no one way of doing it. You kind of just have to pick it up to just go with the flow. And that's not an easy thing for people to do because throughout school, you're kind of taught in a very linear sort of structure, right? You go from here to here and then from here to here. But with something like packaging, you're right here, and there's like a bunch of places, and no one's really telling you which path you're gonna go to, but you have to do one of them. So that kind of sucks. That sucks. I mean, look at these rants. Python packaging has increasingly become a hot mess over the past 10 years. It was never really pretty. But at this point, it's not to say I don't want to use Python unless I need to. That has to hurt Python's feelings. At no point has Python's packaging addressed system packages and the Python's interpreter. Like, bro, this is like kind of what I'm seeing right now. I've noticed it's gotten richer, but there's no real way to kind of understand unless you were already kind of goated at coding. So that's not fun. However, my advice for the best sort of path to take with this is to simply just try to package your own program. And whether you know how to or not, just try to do it. Go on GitHub, try to maybe use Python packaging. Just give it a shot. And whatever you don't know how to do, you just look it up. Because you might see a bunch of tools out there saying, oh, I can help you out with dependency management, this, that. And you're like, I don't know what that means. Well, you shouldn't really have to care what it means unless you use it. You know, that's kind of a thing you may want to keep in mind. You know, if it ain't broke, you don't fix it. If you don't have this problem, don't do it. Not my circus, not my monkey. That one's tough, right? Yeah. Well, my girlfriend just texted me saying how she doesn't know what to wear and we're about to go. So I'll be back and I'll show you how I'm going to package my own project. I don't actually know that much. That's why I made this video to kind of rant about it. So let's get to it. I'll see you in, actually very fast, but I'll be gone for a bit. I don't mind the terrible lighting in the room right now. It's really dark, but here's my little project right here. There's a kind of a lot to cover for sure. We have the git commits. We have literally everything right here. This is all for a flashcard app. And you guys ready for how this works? I looked at the wrong camera. You ready for this? And now when I run it, we have a bunch of flashcards right here. This is not an impossible project to make. It's not. But I had to put it on GitHub. As you can see, the GitHub link is right here. Honestly, I'll put this link in the description. If anyone here knows a bunch about GitHub and they're willing to just like put me on game, I'd love that. Although I'm going to be reading the documents. And this, all right, I'll be honest, bro, this code's not the best. So if you feel like sweating and just improving my code, go for it. I implore you to do it. But thanks so much for watching this video. Drop a like, subscribe, comment, please. The algorithm likes that stuff. So yeah, have a good day. See you.